The year is over. 2020 is done. For better or for worse, we're never gonna have to go through a 2020 again. And that means it's time for the annual review. So the annual review is a series of questions I ask myself about how the year was, and they're just retrospective and introspective. So if you wanna hear about my year, about my 2020 experience, so to speak, stick around. If not, you can go check out any of my other videos that'll be probably more helpful for you personally. But yeah, I wanted to do this because why not, right? It'll be fun to look back on, and it's good to be retrospective and to know how you felt. And I think I'll look back on this fondly. So let's get started with question number 1. Honestly, I felt really proud because I finished the IB. And this was bittersweet because I was cut short and I wasn't able to go to the graduation with my friends and my classmates, for example. But on the other hand, I won around 3 awards at the graduation ceremony itself. So that was really something I could take pride in because I know I did my best, and my results reflected that. Honestly, this is a hard question because I don't know how many of my skills I learned this year are like teachable. But something I did learn that I'm really thankful I learned, and that I know could help or benefit a lot of people, is that you have to expand your box if you want different things to happen to you. And what I mean by this is that we have this box or this window of experience, and everything we know, everything that's normal, that's common, that happens in our lives is within this box. And the growth or progress happens outside the box. And there's, of course, the saying of think outside the box, but you don't want to think outside the box because that seems temporary. What you want to do is expand the box. And by this I mean just surrounding yourself with different people, for example, or with more people, until the things you want to do start to sound normal. So for example, I wanted to start this YouTube channel, and I was very nervous. I was hesitant to do it. So I started just listening to podcasts, for example, about people that had started YouTube channels or about YouTube itself. And that kind of, I kept at it, and I followed people on Twitter that were doing it, for example. And just having these inputs from all these different people that I wouldn't have but I wouldn't have connected with otherwise, it really made me rethink my position. I was like, oh, this is normal, I should do this. And well, now here I am, a few videos in. So my lesson would be to expand your box so you're exposed to more things. It's gonna apply for things like starting a YouTube channel or starting to exercise. If you surround yourself with people that exercise and that push each other, you'll start to exercise too. If you become friends with people that are smart or like high achievers, you'll start to become a high achiever too. So surround yourself with people, or listen to podcasts, or read books, or watch documentaries, something, but just consume more content of what you want to do or that you think will influence you. That was something I learned, and that I think people should know or should try at least once. And I struggled with this one, but I remember we went, some friends and I went before the pandemic, as it was just taking off. We went to the south of France on a 10-day trip or something, and I was super excited because I hadn't really traveled a lot with friends. I did it once in 2018, I think, or 2019. But that was my only experience traveling just with friends. So that was really exciting, and I was really looking forward to it. And it was worth it, and I would want to do it again. I'm also really excited that a friend of mine is coming to visit me next year, I think. So that should be also exciting, and I'm sure I'll get more excited as the date that she lands gets nearer. So I think the answer is just maybe traveling or being with my friends, or a combination of both. I mean, of course 2020 was a different year, so of course I had fun in many different ways. I discovered that I love reading again because it's hard to read during the IB, at least for me. It was something I couldn't really fit into my timetable or schedule, so I slacked. and I picked it up in quarantine, and it's great. I love it. Something else is I discovered I like editing the videos, shooting them too. Coming up with ideas is slightly difficult, so if you want to send me a DM or leave a comment about any ideas you have, please feel free to do so. But I like shooting them, editing them, and thinking about the thumbnail. I like the thumbnail part of it. I don't know, it's like the bow on top of the present, so to speak. And I also discovered podcasts. Now I think podcasts were my number one choice on how I had fun, because they're great. I love them, and there's one for everything. So yeah, I think podcast would be my number one answer. I can only speak about suffering relatively compared to last year, not to other people, because I know I'm really privileged and I haven't really suffered as much as other people I'm sure have. But I suffered, I think, because my high school was cut in half and I missed my graduation. So it was that like kind of fear of missing out at my graduation. And then I was gonna take a gap year and I wanted to travel for these 6 months. But of course I couldn't do that, and I didn't. And I think this year could have or will become a what if year. Like, what if this had happened? What if I had gone? What if? And I think that was kind of suffering for me, just kind of thinking of all the scenarios of what could have been. Although I am really happy with me being here and what I've done here and everything. So I've taken advantage of my time here, but I think it was some sort of overthinking that led me to suffering, at least for a short while. This is a weird question because I didn't spend time with anyone. Basically, I spent from the 1st of January to the 1st of April with my friends, and then from the 1st of April to the 31st of December with my family. So definitely I spent less time with my friends than I had planned, and also than last year, because I was in a boarding school, so we lived together 24/7, almost 52 weeks of the year. So I spent way less time with my friends than I would have wanted or had planned. So definitely my friends, especially my friends from Europe. Yeah, that's the people I spent less time with this year than last year. That would be my family, because I spent 2 years in boarding school. I saw my family only for holidays or when they visited, which, since I was in Europe and they're here in Mexico, it's not easy to visit. So definitely with my family, and it's been great. I miss them, they miss me, you can tell. And it's been great just being around the house, going out for a walk, running, exercising with my mom, being at home with my dad, playing chess, etc. It's been great, and I really missed it, and I hadn't even realized I missed it because it was also novel in boarding school. But yeah, I definitely spent more time with my parents than I had since I moved out to boarding school in 2018. This one was a hard one too, because I don't know, it was tough to think and to be honest with myself. But I think what I feel guilty about is that I haven't really been studying as much as I could for the university admissions tests. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm positive or like 99% certain I will get into a university, and it's gonna be a good university, and it's gonna be a university that I choose. But it's been like, I've been like a bit anxious about me getting in, even though I'm confident in myself that I will. But that's what I've been feeling guilty about. I've been procrastinating a lot on studying, even though I know I'm good. I know that if I studied more, I would have just more peace of mind and be more at ease with myself and with what I know. So yeah, that's been tough, and even saying it on camera is tough because it's gonna be out there forever. But yeah, that's what I've been feeling really guilty about, and I hope this doesn't come back and bite me in the ass. I mean, the first answer is gonna be really cliche. Honestly, it could have been just my brother, my dad, and my mom. But that would have been really easy, and I'm grateful for them every day and every year, not just 2020. So I wanted to make it a bit more specific. So my first answer, my first people, is my parents and my family, so to speak, because they've been here for me, and we've been together, and we've been hanging out, and it's been great. I think the second person I'm really grateful for in 2020 is my English teacher from my boarding school. She introduced me to so many books, and she made me realize that I love reading nonfiction too. We read a lot of fiction, but we also read some nonfiction stuff, and it was great. Maybe I would have done jumped from young adult to nonfiction eventually, but she just really sped it up, and her recommendations have been on point. So you can tell she really knows me. So yeah, I'm really grateful for her. And the third person I'm really grateful for is my college counselor, because she's been so patient since the day she met me, and I had no idea what I wanted to study, and it took me 2 years to decide, and I decided, and now she's been helping me with universities and with sending admissions and just everything. She's been really patient with me, even when I've been impatient with myself. Like, I wanted to know what I wanted to study, even though I didn't know, and I wanted to force myself into a decision, and she was like, no, it's fine, take your time, just chill, you have time, you can take a gap year. She introduced the concept of a gap year to me, and I mean, that's why I'm here right now. So I'm really thankful for her as well. Now, this is another hard question to ask myself, again, because it's hard to be honest with yourself, especially when it's not something positive. So I learned that I don't really deal well with uncertainty. Obviously it depends, but for example, I have two ways of working. I'm either like full on focus, and I won't like stand up from my desk for like hours at a time, or I procrastinate, and I mean, I'll go do this, I'll stand up, I'll do this, I'll just do a lot of small tasks that kind of need to get done, but I won't get the big work chunks out of the way. And I was reading this psychology textbook a few months ago, and it said that self-sabotage is a way of avoiding accountability and responsibility. So I think that's sometimes how I manage to deal with uncertainty. I'll just like kind of procrastinate and not do stuff in order to be able to excuse my future self if I don't reach the goal I'm aspiring to. But that's something I would really want to like address, because it's obviously not healthy or not good to do that. So yeah, that's how I deal with uncertainty. I'm gonna list them off. I started listening to news podcasts in the morning, like 2 minutes to 10 minutes of news podcasts in the morning. And I think it's important to keep up with the news, so that's one I want to keep. I started reading a few pages a day, because it's way easier to convince myself to read 10 pages and then to get sucked into the entire chapter than to just not do that, basically, and you don't read anything. So I want to read like 10 pages a day, which turn into an entire chapter sometimes, or even 2 or 3. So you just get sucked into the book. So that's something else I want to keep. I also started doing 100 push-ups a day, actually, and it's been good. It's been constant progress. Of course, I've missed a few days. I've done 50 instead of 100, but it's been good, and that's something I want to keep. But I'll talk about that more in my resolution video next week. And I started a journal. I've kept up a 133-day streak. So I've been journaling every day at night for around 15 to 20 minutes. It can be from 600 to like 1,500 words a day. And that's been really nice and positive. And I think it'll be something I'll look back fondly on. So that's something I definitely want to keep up. I want to keep up my streak too if I can. So yeah, those are the habits I developed and the habits that I want to keep. So, of course I spent a long time, because I've been living here with them, and it's been the longest I've been living here with them since 2018 when I went to boarding school. So yeah, I definitely spent enough time with them, and that's gonna be the same until at least August or September when I move out and go to university. But yeah, I'll be here in Mexico with my family until then at least. So it's definitely been enough time. Stop caring about putting myself out there, and I don't mean like talking to people, or I've always been really outgoing. I meant putting myself out there, like in the public eye, so to speak, and just putting things on the internet. I've always been a bit like withdrawn, or I've always tried to hold back. But since starting this YouTube channel, obviously it's hard to not. I mean, it was a barrier. It's something I was like telling myself. So it was an excuse I was telling myself that I didn't want to put my thoughts and everything out there. And look at me now. obviously stopped caring about this since I'm uploading this video, which is just me and my thoughts and me ranting. So yeah, that's something I definitely stopped caring about. Nothing, because I don't make any money. Probably podcast. My mom had introduced me to podcasts. She loves them, and I was like, oh yeah, whatever. It's just people talking. And then I don't know how I rediscovered them, but I listen to podcasts all the time while I'm driving, while I'm working out, while I'm walking around the house. Just podcast is definitely my answer. I spent so much time listening to podcasts. It's been great. I love them, and there's a podcast for everything. So go check out, like Spotify has podcasts. Yeah, they're great. I'm actually working on a video on podcasts, so make sure to check that out. Not yet, but make sure to subscribe so you can check that out in the future. It's definitely being home, because I was starting to think of being home as being kind of trapped in this small town where nothing really goes on and you already know everything. And I think I rediscovered the joys of being home because my routine completely shifted. So I really enjoy being home now and just being able to do my own thing. I'm taking Italian classes, I'm studying on my own, I'm helping out my dad at his work. It's just a ton of things that have let me rediscover the joy of being home and being around my family and everything. Even though I haven't seen my friends and all because of the pandemic, it's still been great being back. Productive, and I don't mean productive like hustling or anything like that. I mean just getting stuff done that I know needs to get done. Anything from videos to studying to just anything that needs to get done when I'm doing it, even if it's writing an email. I love the feeling of getting it done and just feeling like, oh my god, I can relax now. I've done what I needed to do, and that's it basically regarding this task. On to the next thing. I love that feeling of getting things done, and it really brings me peace and satisfaction. So definitely just doing things that need to get done is my answer. So I wanted to travel the world during my gap year, and I wanted to just hop around and work here, work there, travel, go with friends. I just wanted to experience the world in a way I hadn't, and of course I wasn't able to do that. So that was a goal I didn't manage to succeed in, and I won't carry it into 2020 because I mean the pandemic will still be here, and then I'm moving off to university. I'll definitely postpone it, and I do want to travel the world eventually, but not next year, realistically. But yeah, that's the goal I didn't make, so to speak. Although it wasn't really in my hands, but it's something I didn't achieve. To be honest, I don't have any by this age milestones because life isn't a race, and that was something I had to drill into myself when I took this gap year. I'm not competing against anyone to like, oh, I have to be a doctor by 25 or by 28, or I have to have a specialty decided on by 2023 or anything. It's not a race and it's not a competition, so I'm just going at my own pace and figuring stuff out. I mean, we have time. It really is fine to take your time to think and to decide and to feel. So yeah, I don't have any by this age milestones. So I'm gonna talk about things that I have direct control over, so here we go. I would like to know more about meditation, to be honest. I've been wanting to look into it. I have a few books lined up I want to read about it, and I would like to start meditating or just try it out, see if it works for me. It might not, it might be like mumbo jumbo or it might really work, but I wanna know, I wanna try, so that's something I wanna do. I wanna know more about Stoicism too. So I can make a decision as to whether I want to like put it in my life or just be like, oh, that's cool, but not for me. So I want to know more about those two things. And if I was exceeding my expectations, I'd be in a really good medical school and I'd be crushing it. It'd be great. I'd be having the time of my life. But yeah, that's my 2020 year review. Thank you for watching if you made it all the way. If you did, like it and subscribe. I'll be posting more useful things in the future about like the IB, university, the international medical admissions test and things like that. But for now, it's a hectic week. Next week you can expect a video on my 2021 resolutions, and then I'm compiling a video with the help of my friends about tips that a number of IB students would give to non-IB students yet. And it's not just going to be me talking, it's going to be a few friends that I'm having them send voice notes and stuff. So that should be fun. Do subscribe and look out for that as well. Cheers, guys.